Hello, today let us start with files in Python. A file is a collection of data that is available to a program. So we can make use of this file to retrieve a particular data. So it's a collection of data which is available for a program. Types of files. There are two types of files, text file and binary file. Text file is used to store data in the form of characters or strings, where binary file uses data in the form of bytes. So it can store the files such as images, text, videos, audios, and PDF files. So these type of files can be stored in the form of binary file. Now let us move to open a file. So in order to open a file, we can make use of open function. So open function is used to open a file. Open function returns and pointer to the beginning of the file. So whenever you open the file, the pointer will be aiming at the first position of that file. So for example, if you open a particular text file, so there is an characters of hi. If it is hi, then when you open a file, the pointer will be pointing at the character before h, saying that it will be at the beginning of the file. The syntax is open file name mode. So file name represents a name of a file, while mode represents the purpose of opening a file. I think it's a bit clear now. So if you look into the example, so f is equal to open school.text and its mode is R. R means read mode. F is equal to file object or a file handler, which can be used as a variable which used to handle the file. So on opening a file, we are giving the inputs as file name and its mode. So now let us execute this opening a file function in our code editor. So let us create a text file before proceeding with open function. So I have created a school.txt file. Here I have created a student one as a text. Here let me create a open function file .py. Then I will try to create a file f is equal to open school.txt, where its mode as R. Print f. Then once you open the file, you need to close this f.close. So I'm getting an output as IO text IO wrapper, where name of the file is school.text and its mode is R and encoding is CP1252. So this is the output. So as I discussed here, I have written f is equal to open school.text and its mode as reading mode. I have given the printf. Printf is nothing but a file handler or a file object. So the file object is aiming at school.txt and its mode is off and encoding is CP1252, which is an optional. And I'm finally closing a file. So here you have a text here, but you are not getting that. So in order to get the text, so you need to print a function called f.read. So if you make use of this read function, the following data will be read from the text file. Hence it will be printed. So printf represents the file handler or a file object in which the file is handled by a variable object. And f.read will be the function which is used to read the contents of the file. This is how exactly the open function works, which involves opening a function and reading the file data and reading the file handler data and finally closing a function. So this is the exact method of opening a file. Now let us move to closing a file. So I think we have discussed here itself. I will try to put in the slide and I will show you an example and the existing code itself. So closing function is used to close an opened file. Once we close the file object is deleted from the memory, hence file will be no longer accessible unless we open it again. So once you open any of the file, you need to close it, or else there will be a chances like the data can be get corrupted. Hence whenever you open a file, it is must and should you need to close it. So once we close the file object will be deleted from its memory space and it will be no longer accessible unless or until if you open it again. So that's exactly the closing function works. So the syntax is file object dot close. Example is f dot close. So as I said, so once you created an open function, or once you opened a file, you need to close that. So the syntax is f dot close. The f represents an file object or an file handler when using close function. So that's the closing of a file. Now let us move to with statement. With statement can be used while opening a file. When you open a file using the statement, there is no need to close the file explicitly. For example, whenever you open a file, it is must and should you need to close it. So once if you not close a file, then there will be chances of your data getting corrupt. Hence, you should need to close it. But there is one more method called with method or with state. When we open a file using with statement, there is no need to close that explicitly. For example, I will just create an with.py here everything. With open tool.txt or as yep. Printf array. When you run this, you will get an output as the same which we got in opening and function. So here, with the help of which statement, I have opened it and I could able to get the file handler data as well as the data inside the text file. So in order to check whether the file has been closed or not, I can make use of f.closed. I will discuss this in upcoming slide, but as of now, I wanted to show you whether it is working or not. So here, if you look here in the with statements, when I print f.close, it's showing false. So since I'm still working with block, it is showing as f.close is false because it is still open. So whenever I try to print this out of this with block, now if I try to run this, now it is true. What exactly it means is I'm just checking whether the given school.txt file is opened in the beginning of the code, but I'm checking whether it is closed or not. So f.closed will give an boolean results whether true or false. If a given file is closed means it will give true. If a given file is not closed means it will give false. So here I'm running the f.closed function out of this with block. So now the file has been closed. What exactly the with statement describes is, so you don't want to close it explicitly. Once after you open a file with it using with function or with statement, it will be automatically the file will be automatically get closed. You don't want to add it a comment saying that f.close or a file object dot close. So in order to check whether it is working fine or not, I make use of f.closed function to check whether the file is opened or not. So since f.closed is returning true, so it means the file is closed. If I run the same operation inside the with block, then if I run this, it's giving false because the file is still open. So whenever if you are working within the with block, then the file is still open. But when you execute this outside the with block, then you run this, then the file will be get closed, and you don't want to add any of the close function comment. So that's what I wanted to show you, what exactly the with statement is and how exactly the closed function works. It will just monitor whether the file is opened or closed. So that's what the description of this with statement. So that's the completion of with statements. Now let us move to text file modes. These are the modes which can be used while opening a file. So as I said you in the open function, we have a mode here where the file handler describes modes, mode R. So in this way, there is around 6 type of modes. You can make use of these modes to do some operations. For example, read, write, append, read, write, write, read, append, read. In this way, the following operations will be done. And let us go one by one. Created read.py file. Now let us execute a function. F is equal to open school.txt where mode is R. Now f print f dot read. So read is a function which is used to read the data of the file. Now once you open the file, you need to close it first. F dot close. When you run this file, you will get an output as student1. Here you could able to see in the school.txt file we have a characters as student1. That's what I have got using read function. That's the operation of read function. Read function is used to read the data from the file. Now let us move to write function. So write function, what exactly it does? It's open an existing file from a write operation. If the file already contains some data, then it will be overridden. But if the file is not present, then it creates the file as a well. So now let us create write.py. So f is equal to, there is few scenarios where we can do. So first thing is opening an existing file for a write operation. If the file is already contains some data, then it will overwrite. So as I said, the school.txt file has already contains some text, which is student1. By using write operation, I will try to open it. School.txt. Then I will write the mode as write. W represents write. So if I want to I will just read it first. Oh, sorry. Read it first. So let me look what happens. So f dot close. I need to close before opening. So here why I'm getting an error here because f dot read operation is not works here because write function is used to only write the data. That's it. It can't able to get the data. That's why it's showing as error. So here why it's showing an error is like, so IO unsupported operation not readable because I have given the mode as W and I'm trying to read it, so hence it's giving an error. So I can just write the data but I can't able to read it. So f dite I will write Vasavi. Just write it. When I run this, so I could able to see the code execution is completed, but when I go to the school.txt, you could able to see the following data has been replaced with Vasavi because initially it was student1, now it is changed to Vasavi. So what exactly it is doing is, so opening an existing file for an write operation. We have opened an existing file which is school.txt file to perform write operation. When I try to read it, it doesn't work because write method is used to write the content. That's all. In order to read that, we could able to make use of W plus, which will be discussed later. So as of now, I just opened an existing file which is known as school.txt. In that, I have a text called student1. But if the file already contains some data, then it will be overridden. But the overridden means I have already data which is known as student1, but when I make use of this write method, the following data has been overridden and it is been replaced with Vasavi. So this is the case one. If the file is not at all available, then it will do another operation Let us create a case 2. So for your convenience, f is equal to open f is equal to open teacher.txt write mode, where f dot write is equal to this is the teacher data file. F dot close. If I run the case 1 and case 2, so as I said, it has created teacher text file. So teacher text file was not at all available in my file directory. So it has created a file which is teacher.txt, and it has written, and it is in the write mode, and the data which is written is this is the teacher data file. But when I open teacher.txt, the following data has been written here. This is the teacher data file. So, and it has been closed. So that exactly the description of write. So we have discussed two cases. One is opening an existing file for write operation. If the file already contains some data, then it will be overridden. So this is the case 1. The case 2, if the file is not at all present, then it creates the file as well. So it has been, if in the second case, I don't have teacher.txt file, and I have created the text file with the help of write mode, and I have created some text in that. So this is how the write function works. Now let us move to append. A represents an append. So what exactly it do is, it's open an existing file for append operation. It won't override the existing data. So it will open an existing file for append operation. It won't override the existing data. For example, I have an Vasavi in the school text. So with the help of append, I will add some more text into this file without removing the Vasavi. So how I can do, I will show you with an example. Append dot py. So here I'll just open the file. Open dot. So school.txt. I will make use of append. Then I will try to write Vidyani K1. I will add /t, so for one tab space before the text, and I will try to close it. So let us see what happens here. So anyhow, the program has run successfully. Now let us look back into school.txt. You could able to see. So we have in the school.txt, we have only text Vasavi, but I have appended Vidyaniketa with Vasavi by adding a tab space in between. So this is the operation of append. So what exactly it do is, it's open an existing file. Here the existing file is school.txt, and it won't override the existing data. But it's not overriding the existing data. It is adding a string or set of characters to the existing string. So that's the operation. So we have discussed the append operation in the list as well. So what exactly the append is used to do is, we can add some content into the existing list. So the same operation is happening in the file as well. In the school.txt, we have initially have some file. We have some data which is known as Vasavi. Now we are adding Vidyaniketa into the existing file, which is school.txt. So that's how exactly the append function works. So I think we have discussed RWA, and so first let us complete all the file object variables and file object methods with respect to RWA, because R plus W plus A plus is the content which you could able to learn after the after understanding some methods. So I think for your better understanding purpose, I will ensure that to learn all last three concepts after this, and I will be explaining these three concepts once after the completion of file object variables and file object methods. So you will get to know the exact concept how it's working. So I think so now we are aware of R, read, W, write, A, append. So we can, with the help of these things, we could able to perform file object variables and file object methods operation. And later on, we can focus on R plus W plus A plus, because it will these operations includes lot of methods, file object methods, which we'll be discussing here. So it will include lot of these methods here. So that's why if I try to explain these things now only, you could not able to get the concept clearly. So that's why I will try to brief out these things at the last of the session, and we can move on with file objects and file methods now. And I will be completing these three methods, which is R plus, W plus, A plus, in the last minute of this session. Now let us move to file object variables. So the name, this shows the name of the specific file. So for example, I will try to create file object folder. In this file object folder, I would like to create file object variables, and I will create one more file object folder, file objects methods. Now let us move on with one by one. Let us move to file object variables. So the name, this shows the name of the specific file. So let us work with first file, name.py. So in this thing, so let me open a file first. F is equal to open school.txt. Then I will try to open in read mode. So in order to get the name of the file, I will make use of f.name. So once you open the file, you need to close it. So the output will be school.txt file. So this returns the name of the file. Then file name which I'm using is school.txt. So hence it returns the name as school.txt as an output. Now let us move to second object variable, which is mode. Mode, this shows the mode of the file. So whichever the mode we open the file, right? So it will show the exact mode of that file. Now let us create mode.py. So I will make use of the same example, but instead of name, I will use mode. When I print this, so now it is in read mode, it will return the same R, because it's just giving me the information about in which mode I have just opened the file. So that's the explanation of mode. Closed, this is used to check whether the file has closed or not. I think we have discussed this in the close function explanation, because we are able to check, we can able to check whether the file is closed or not. So let me execute here as well. If you didn't understand there, I think I was explaining that in the while I was explaining the concept with statement, at that point of time I explained this closed. So we can have a quick overview here also. If you couldn't able to grasp the concept there, then you could able to understand here. So now let us move to closed. Closed.py, right? So here you just copy paste the same file, and instead of f.close, and I will remove all the operations. So I will just add print f dot closed. So I'm just checking whether this file is closed or not. So here, since this file is open and it is not at all closed, so it will return an error as it will given false because this file is not closed. So as I said, each and every file whenever you open, it must be closed or else there will be a chances of data getting corrupt. So that's why you need to close it. So when you do the close operation, it will return a true since this file has been closed now. Hence, this looks good. So this holds the function closed up function will work. So it will check whether the function is closed or not. So these are the three main concepts. Like whenever you open a file, you will be having three set of things or three set of arguments you need to take care. The first two will be the formal arguments like the file name and the mode of the file which you want to move, which you want to access the file. And the last one is closing the file. So whenever you open the file, you must close the file. So that's the completion of file object variables. Now let us move to file objects methods. First one is readable. This method is to check whether the file is readable or not. So readable.py. I'll try to close all the unwanted files. So I will just open a file. Open school.txt. Or I'm opening the file in the read mode. So I will check whether the file is readable or not. I will print it f dot readable and I will close it. So it will return a logical value whether it is true or false. When I run this, it will give true because the file is opened in read mode. So in case if I try to open in write mode, then it will throw false because in the write mode you could not able to get the reading access. So this is the readable mode. But when I run this again in write mode, it will give true because the file is readable. Now let us check with writable. Writable.py. I will replace read with write and I will instead of readable I will make use of writable. So if I run this, it will return true because we are opening the mode as write and we are checking whether the file can be writable or not. So instead of write, if I make use of read, so it will give false because in the file read mode you could not able to write it. So hence it will throw an error or throw an logical value false. So that is readable and writable. Is file. So this method is used to check whether the specific file is existed or not. This belongs to path module, which is submodule of OS module. So is file.py. So here we need to check whether the file is existing or not. So for that, import right. In that you can just print os dot path is file name is school.txt. We are checking whether school.txt file is existing in this file directory or not. So when I run this, it will give true because in file handling in Python, we have a text file called school.txt and it gives true. Instead of school school.txt. I will write school1.txt. If I run this, it will give false because it doesn't have any of the school1.txt. If I try to check whether the teacher.txt is existed or not, it will return true because it will even teacher.txt file is also available here. So this is the operation of is file. So it is used to check whether the file is available in the file directory or not. Now let us move to write function. Write.pl. So I will just create open school.txt write mode, and I will write f dot write. Hi, how are you? And f dot close. So in the school.txt, I'm currently having, I don't have anything in the school.txt file, but when I run this file, hi, how are you? So the following data will be created in school.txt file. So it is used to add or used to write a character or string into the file. Next, write lines. This method is used to write a group of string into the file represented by the file object. So I will just show you with a demo file. Write lines dot. So I will try to create a group of string in terms of list, like Rama, Rakshi, Ravi, Arjuna. So these are my list of strings. So I will just try to create or open a function which is called school.txt, and here I will try to write it as write mode. I will try to open it, write it in write mode. Here I will write in f dot write lines ls, and I will close the function. So have you passed the list of string into the write lines command, write lines function, so to check whether the given data will be written in the school.txt file or not. So when I run this, the following code will be executed and the data will be written. In order to print that space, I can make use of /t. So now when I print this, each and every data will be associated with a tab space. So this is how the write lines function works. Now let us move to read size. This method is used to read data or content from the file and returns its string in text mode or byte objects in binary mode. So as we are dealing with text mode, we can focus on text mode itself. So here read size.py. So here f is equal to open dot, I will make use of teacher now, teacher.txt file. Then I will use read mode because we are reading the data. Print f dot read f dot close. So when I run this, it will read the data of the teacher.txt file. Since teachers.txt file, this is the teacher data file. So this is the case 1. The case 2, try to copy the same thing, and if I specify some size, for example 4, then if I run this, I will get only the 4 set of characters. In this file, t will be 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So hence the output will be this 4 with an empty space. So this how the case2 works. So you can give a size limit to print the set of characters from the string, or if you just pass f dot read or file object dot read, it will give the complete output of the complete data of that file. If you specify number of characters, then only that set of characters will be printed. And this is the operation of read size. In the syntax I have clearly mentioned everything. So where size represents the number of bytes to be read from the beginning of the file. So in the beginning of the file, it will read a set of data. So again, that's what I have given the size here for, and hence the data is read. So this is created. And in the second statement, where size is omitted or negative, the entire content of the file will be read and read. If you ignore the size, if you didn't give any of the size, it will print the entire data. Even if you give any negative value, it will give the entire data. And in the third comment, if the end of the file has reached the file object read, it will return an empty string. If you given some a string value, when it reaches some maximum value, it will return an empty string. That's what it gives. Now let us move to the seventh method, which is known as readLine. readLine. This method is used to read single line from the file. readline.py. Let me create a list of string where I have created before with the help of tab spaces. I will try to create within a new line. Anyhow, we need to get a single line, right? So that's why we can make use of this Rama Ravi Rakshi. So this is my example. So just f is equal to open and I will pass school.txt. Then I will make use of write. So then I will pass write lines and I will pass a list of string which is ls. Then I will close it. Close. So in school.txt, I have this file. When I write this, I just execute the code and everything are different. Once after creating a string in different lines by using writeLine function, we can make use of a readLine. So for that, we need to open the file first. Open school.txt in the read mode. Now I will try to read print f dot read line. Then I will close the file. So here what exactly I'm doing is I'm just opening a school.txt file where it has this set of lines, where the first line is Rama, Ravi and Rakshi, and I'm printing the first line. So when I run this, I will get the first line as Rama. So this how exactly the read line operation works. So if you want to perform read lines, this is example for read line. Example for read lines. So here you can again you need to open the file which is school.txt, and here you need to assign data. You need to assign a variable which is whichever the variable you need, data f dot read lines. Then if you print this data, and you need to close this function. When you run this, you will get a list of string. So here you are not at all getting the data of that school.txt file in different lines. In order to access that, you can make use of for I in data print I. So if I print this data, I'm getting the values in different lines. So this is the operation of read lines and read line. So when you run the read lines, so you will get a list of string which will be in one common line. But when you try to access them, you can access them by using for loop. So that's all with the read lines. Now let us move to the next statement, which is tell.py. So what tell function used to do? So this method is used to find the current position of the file pointer from the beginner of the file position. So it will tell you where exactly your pointer is located. That's all the description. That's it. For example, f is equal to open school.text, and if you want this in read mode, and you will write it as f dot tell. So we just print it first, so we'll get exact number. Then I will just close it. F dot close. When I run this, so the pointer will be at its first position in the text file. So this what the whenever if you try to print this, for example, if you try to print print f dot read, so it will print all the data from Rama, Ravi, Rakshi. So because the pointer is at the first position, it is at its first position. This what's the tell functions does. So tell function is used to get the appropriate position of the pointer. Now seek position. Seek position, this method is used to move file pointer from one position to another position from the beginning to the file. Position starts from 0 and it must be positive integer. So now let me create seek.py. F is equal to open school.txt read mode, print f dot tell function. Then I will print f dot seek function to its position. Again I will try to print f dot tell function. Why I'm writing these things is to make you to understand that shit. So I will just explain how it works. So here you could able to see, whenever I open a function, f dot tell will be at its beginning. The pointer will be at the beginning. So here it is clearly mentioned, the file pointer from the beginning of the file position starts from 0. After that, the seek position, the seek function which helps to move the pointer from one position to the other position, right? So I'm just moved the position from 0 to 5th. So that's what I have given here. Now if I get the so when I printed the seek position, now it is at its 5th position. Again, in order to check where exactly the pointer is located in the file, I can make use of tell function again. So the tell function is also saying that it is at 5th position. So now if I try to print the data, f dot array, it will give all the values after the fifth position. So here RAMA and the new line N will be considered. After that, what is the value? Which is Ravi and Rakshi. Every data has been printed. This was the working operation of tell, seek, read. So that's all. I think we are done. But before ending our session, as I said, I will be discussing R plus W plus A plus. Right? So now let us move on with these methods. R plus dot py. Just keep it outside. So this is my R plus dot py. What exactly R plus will do? Now we will understand clearly. Why I just explained you that we can focus these things later, right? Because it has lot of functions or methods which will be involved while explaining. So that's what I wanted you guys to first learn the basic thing: read, write, append. So after that we can focus on R plus W plus A plus. I have explained all the three and we can focus on rest three now. R plus. R plus is used to read and write data into the file. The previous data in the file will be overridden. So whenever you can, if you make use of read and write data into the file, the previous data in the file will be overridden. So now let us have an example. So teacher.txt file has, I'll create one more file which is known as text1.txt, right? In this text one, just create a text Vasavi. So here now let us work on R plus. Read and write. So f is equal to open text1.txt. I will use the mode R plus. So here we can do the operation read and write. Both the things we can do. Now let me read the data because text file already has some data, right? Now let us see whether it will read or not. We can check f dot close. If I run this, now you could be able to see my data has been read. So the content from the text one has been read. So now I will write it. And I will also check where exactly my pointer is located. Print f dot tel. When I print this, it is saying that my pointer at a 6 position. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At 6 position it is there. Now I will try to write f dot write, sorry, f dot write Vidyaniketa. Then again I will try to read it. Print f dot read. Then I will check its position. Pointer position. Run this file. I will get the output as blank because so f is equal to read text1.text R plus. So here when I read this file, the initial data, the text1.txt contains Vasavi. So at that point of time, so it will read the data which is known as Vasavi. Later it will tell its position. So the position is at 6th position. After reading the data, it will be at 6th position. Then I will write a content called Vidyaniketan into the text1.file. Now the position will be moved to Vasavi. Then position will be moved to last position of the text, where after n it will be moved to 19th position. So when I did an read operation, so after writing the Vidyaniketan to the existing file text1.txt, the pointer will be at its last position, hence the data will be completely empty. So it won't be printing any of the value. So that's why it is not at all printing any of the data. And if you want to check its position, it is giving as 19th position. So as I said, it will be moved to the last position, and hence the data after the pointer will be completely blank, hence it's giving the blank thing. So but if you want to get the data, I can make use of seek f dot seek 0, sorry, seek 0, print f dot read, print f dot tell. So now we will try to remove Vidyaniketan again, and I will try to run this code. Here again, I will just explain now itself. So whenever I read the function, Vasavi will be printed, and I will check for its tell position. So it will be at its 6th position. So after that, I will write a Vidyaniketan into the existing file, which is text1.txt. Then Vasavi Vidyaniketan will be the text you will get. For that, it will read and read operation, but it will fail to print the content because it will be aiming at its last position of the text. So thereafter it will tell its position, which is at 19th position. After I will be moving the pointer position to 0, then I will try to print the data f dot read and f dot read. Then it will print all its data, and it finally then the pointer will move to its last position and it will tell its position. Then I will close the file. If I run this, now you could able to grasp the changes. So initially, as I said, it will read the first statement, which is Vasavi. Then it will move to the pointer position at 6. Then I will write a write function. Then I will try to read it, since it will give a blank value because it will be at its last position of the text value, and it will give its position by using printf tell. It will give its position. Then I will move the pointer to its first position, which is 0, with the help of seek function. Now I will do the read operation. It will try to print all the content of the text one, which is Vasavi Vidyaniketan, and finally I will ask for its position, which will be at 19th. So this how the R plus, which is read and write operation, will be done. I think you got the point, you have clearly understand. So that's what I have said you. So before proceeding with R plus, W plus and A plus, I want you to make understand the functions first, because you can see the seek method or seek function and tell function, read function, everything has been associated with these R plus and W plus A plus methods. So that's why I just wanted you to learn these functions first. Later on you could able to move for different modes of text. Now let us move to W plus. W plus method is used to write and read data. It will overwrite the existing data. It's simple. So let me create text2.txt file. I'll create hi. Then I'll W plus dot py file. Now let us do some operation on the text2 file. text2.txt. Next, here W plus. Now let us write f dot write hello. Now if you try to get printf dot read, so initially it has hi, but when I run this and I try to get the data, so you could able to see the changes. It has been completely replaced with hello. As I said, W plus operation is used to completely remove the existing data and it will overwrite with a new comment. So when I run the read operation, it's not at all printing any of the data, since even though it has hello. So because the pointer is pointing at its last position, in order to check its position, print f dot tell. When I run this, it is at its fifth position. If you want to get the data, you can make use of print f dot seek of 0. So when I run this, sorry, when you run this, you will get its first position as 0. And now if you try to print the data, print f dot read, you will get its value. So this is the working procedure of W plus. So W plus operation is used to perform write and read. So initially, in the text2 file, I had a text called hi, and with the help of write function, I just overwrite the hi with hello. So in the write function, always the pointer will be at its beginning position of the text. It will be completely removed and it is overwritten by hello. So but when I read it, when with the help of read function, when I read it, so it's giving as blank, because when you overwrite the given string with a new string, the pointer will be placing at its last position. Hence the data after the last position will be completely blank. It doesn't print any of the value. So it gives some, so it doesn't print any of the value. And if you check for its position, as I said, it is at its last position, so hence it is not at all printing any of the value. Then with the help of seek function, you can move that pointer to its first position, which is 0, and you can print the data with the help of f dot read. Then the following read function used to read the data of the text2 file. It will give the string which is available in that file. So this how the exactly the W plus file works. Now let us move to A plus, which is our last mode in this file session, and it is final last concept. So text file modes, A plus. So A plus, it's an append and read data from the file. It won't override existing data. So let me create a new text, which is text3, and I will create a string as wasabi. A plus dot py is the file which I need to do some operation. Now let us perform some operation on text3 using append, read and write. So for that, let me open the text3.txt, and I will try to perform an operation A plus. So let me write f dot write Vidyani Etam. So we'll add a slash t, so for a tab space. Then I will try to read the data, f dot close. Then when I print this, you could able to see in the text3 I got the changes. So here wasabi has been replaced with tab space and Vidyaniketa, because append function is used to append the text to an existing text file. So but here we are not at all getting the data, because the print f dot tell returns the position of the pointer. So in order to print the data, we can make use of seek position to seek its position to its first value. Then finally we can print its data, print f dot. So when I run this, You could able to see when I run at the beginning of the code f dot read, it doesn't give any of the data because the pointer will be at its last position, and in order to check its position, print f dot tell it is at its 20th position. Now with the help of seek function, I just moved it to its first position, and after that I called a read function. So following the content from the text tray has been read and it is printed. So this is the methods of text file. So we have discussed all the methods R, W, A, R plus, W plus, A plus, and file object variables and file object methods. So we have covered everything with related to file. So that's all for the day. Thank you.